Welcome back to A Drop of Happy, your space for stress well living and entertainment. This is your drop of calm, clarity, joy, and fun. I am your host, Wanda Toby. Did I say fund? I, I think I did. Uh, fun. Fun. We gonna have fun. So I watched Bridgerton, the second half of season 4. It was finally released on Netflix. 4 more episodes for a total of 8. And after binging it, I'm going to be honest, I don't know how I feel about this season. So it definitely did not dethrone season 2, Kate, Anthony, and Kate and Anthony, because as y'all know, that is my favorite. But I'm not really sure where it would land. I probably have to watch it again to make that decision. So for now, my hierarchy remains the same. The Viscount Who Loved Me, these are the names of the books, by the way, but that was season 2, Anthony and Kate, number 1. The Duke and I, season 1, Daphne and Simon. Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, season 3, Colin and Penelope. And then An Offer from a Gentleman, season 4, Benedict and Sophie. If you're interested in the books, which I've read all of them, that's not the the release of the seasons are not the order of the books. Just a little FYI. So my favorite couple made a very brief appearance. If you blinked, you would have missed it. Kate and Anthony, they were there for 2.5 seconds. 2.5 seconds. Okay. Let's see. My favorite things about part 2 were actually Hyacinth and Lady Danbury and the Queen. It was a cute season, but I'm not going to lie. I was slightly disappointed because Araminta, which is Sophie's fake wannabe mama, the stepmom, for me, she seemed to have gotten off light, okay? Versus how she got treated in the books. And I wanted her to be dragged. She did not catch enough smoke for my liking. I wanted her to be dragged. She got off light. And that annoyed me. Everything else was on point as usual because these are vets by now. Like they know what to do. The music was on point. The acting was solid. And I enjoyed the subplot of the other characters. It didn't take away, like it really rounded it out for me. So let's discuss. But if you have no intentions of watching, let me spoil it for you. Spoilers ahead. If you don't want to hear any spoilers, guess what? Now is your time to bow out. Like, share, subscribe, do all the things. Come back and listen to the other episodes. You know how it goes. But let's get into it. So part 1 ended with Benedict making what he thought was a great offer to Sophie. And she was like, pardon me. Part 2 starts with him being all confused about where he went wrong. Sir. So Mondridge clues him in that no woman wants to feel cheap and offering to keep Sophie as his mistress without any talk of love or any cutesy whatever. That's cheap. That's cheap, my brother. So there's that. They do squeeze in a lot. I feel like they squeezed in a lot into this season, but it worked. You know, somehow the squeezing in of everything kind of didn't detract from the story. Like it flowed. And again, I actually enjoyed the peripheral characters. Oh, it's raining, y'all. Oh, okay. Like raining hard. Penelope wants to stop being Miss Whistledown. The Queen said no at first. I think she eventually changes her mind. Penelope pleads a good case. Francesca is attempting to come to terms with having Michaela around because it disturbs her and John's routine. The Queen is coming to terms with potentially being left alone because Lady Danbury wants to leave. And now Penelope wants to stop writing Bridgerton, stop writing Whistledown. So she's like, whoa. And Araminta is over here stealing maids. Just to name a few of the things that are happening. Benedict does end up making love to Sophie at some point because he just can't seem to stay away. Okay? And then she immediately regrets it, which, is what happens in these things. She spends some time worrying about whether she's pregnant because that opens up a whole different can of worms, don't it? So when she finally finds out that she's not, she's like, oop. She makes plans. She eventually makes plans to leave. Even though Benedict's like, yo, I want to be with you, blah, 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 blah. She's like, pump your brakes. Stop. This is not going to work. What happens is she makes plans to leave for America, especially since her original plan was to work for the new Lady Penwood, who ends up being none other than Cressida. So, but those plans fall through, and she learns that. So Posey is so freaking cute. Posey risks everything to try to warn her that, hey, Araminta is looking for you, and she's gonna arrest you for stealing the shoe clips. And then at one point, she was just like, all the things that she says about your mom is a lie, blah blah blah. So in the book, Posey ends up being a key contributor to Sophie getting off, but not in this, which I gotta let go of the books sometimes. I gotta let it go, okay, because it's a little different from the books, so gotta let it go. Anyway, she does tell her, she kind of sneaks out of the house and finds a way to get to Sophie to be like, listen, Araminta, Araminta, I don't know why I keep jacking up her name. She wants to get you arrested. So she's like, okay, so that makes her even more like, okay, fine, I'm just gonna go to America. But before she's able to leave, she tells the people she's going to work for another family, but really she's going to America. And before she leaves, Araminta does find her and gets her arrested. And in this one, not only for stealing the shoe clips, but also impersonating a nobility. Eventually, though, with the help of Alice Mondridge, they devise a plan that solves the whole situation. Of course, this is after the Bridgertons get Sophie released into their custody. In the meantime, Araminta is just being a bitch, okay? She's being the classic evil stepmother, like getting on my last good. Ooh, she getting on my nerves, which is, again, I feel like she got off easy and I needed her to get more, but she didn't. So she's released. So Sophie is released to the Bridgerton's custodies. Sophie, with the help of Eloise, since Lady Penwood is actually Cressida, and they have a history, they have a friendship, they had a friendship. So with her help, they visit the Penwood house to give Sophie the opportunity to search for her father's will, because the Earl of Penwood, the former, was her daddy. So anyway, she finds it and she learns that, oh, he did care for her, because all the time she listened to the bonehead Araminta, who said, your daddy didn't leave Jack for you, and I was just keeping you out of the kindness of my heart. Which, why didn't she think that was crap? Crap, it was all of that. But I guess because she had been subjected to verbal abuse that dug away at her self-esteem for the longest time, she of course thought, dang, my daddy really didn't love me. and she believed it, which, that lady abused her for all those years while taking her money. So she finds out that he left her money for Araminta to care for her. And that's really the only reason why she kept her. But he also left her, Posey, and Rosamond a dowry, which they realized that Araminta basically stole it. So Cressida is throwing a ball, a penwood ball, and this is a whole nother subplot that I really didn't get into. But Cressida is throwing a penwood ball, and at first people are like, I'm not going. But then this little secret plan, Penelope is like, okay, I'm gonna go, as well as the queen is like, all right, I'm gonna go because it's all part of this grand elaborate setup. So at the ball, Benedict, Violet, and Sophie corner Araminta again with the help of the new lady in waiting, Lady Mondrich. They corner her to tell her that, hey, we know you stole the money. Like, stop playing with us. We know you stole the money, okay? Don't, shh. We know you did. And they pressure her to make a family relation in order to legitimize Sophie's connection to nobility and kind of negate her illegitimate status so she and Benedict can actually marry. And Araminta begrudgingly denies it, agrees. But not before she's just like, well, I'm going to take you all down with me. Like the evil and the venom in her spirit, in her soul, was just like, whoa, who did you dirty? And she'd just been fighting all her life. First of all, she did play Posey, like, even in the books, like, she treated Posey like crap. So in the book, Posey ended up staying with Violet. That's not how it happened here. Again, like I said, I feel like she did not get her comeuppance. She did not get her just due. She got off, Araminta got off way, way, way too easy. So anyway, let's pause and talk about the ball. So at the ball, this was poetic justice. I must say, Penelope did her bag. So Penelope did finally get permission from the queen to stop writing Whistledown. So at the ball, the queen does show up because Cressida was worried that the queen didn't show up because this was her re-entrance back into society after the shenanigans she pulled last season. But Penelope uses that opportunity to publish her last sheet of Lady Whistledown. And it's like a poetic justice. It's like embarrassing, whatever. The queen approved, so it was good. And Lady Cressida was, I don't know if she was embarrassed, she was whatever, because I would have been like, sure, no publicity is good publicity. Y'all was still at my party when this happened. Like, I would have found a way to spin that. She's spin queen. She should have. It didn't show that, but I'm like, come on, girl. So anyway, this is what happened. So Benedict and Sophie, I mean, they were cute. They finally end up together, cutesy, whatever. Sophie, sometimes these heroines make decisions that piss me off. And it's just to advance the story. So they do stupid things to create conflict, to create, forward momentum and all that. But I will say, Sophie, she was a tough cookie because she had to be. Although I did not like how she just believed everything Araminta said, but she'd been abused since she was young. So she internalized all of those things, but she knew how to protect herself. That's one thing. And so I really felt like she was justified in her feelings and her actions. And she realized that she really had to look out for herself the best way she knows how. And one of the things you'll always hear me talking about with stress management and life management and all that is knowing your values, knowing who you are, because that will help you make better decisions. That will help you make choices that align with your spirit, align with who you are, and create less internal conflict for you, which will help you be able to better manage whatever comes your way. Sophie knew who she was. She knew who she was. She knew what her values were. She knew where she stood. And she was able to stand in that and make these choices that she felt convicted and able to move on. So I actually really like Sophie. Like in the season, the show, she's one of my, as far as characterization, she's one of my favorite, just because of that. Now, let's talk about Lady Violet, okay? She and Marcus, they did their due. She got her garden tended to, so now she's feeling herself. I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling. I'm. Okay. Yes. Uh, there were a couple of moments when Violet started reminiscing, not only about the love of her life, the love she had with her husband, but also about who she was at one point. Y'all remember that little feisty little girl from Queen Charlotte? She started remembering and talking to Benedict, talking about Benedict, you got all that from me and stuff. So she started remembering that. And I knew at the time there was one scene where her and Benedict were talking, and the painting of Violet and her husband was behind. I was like, oh, she's not gonna marry that man. No, she not. I was just like, mm-mm. So she decides that she did not want to marry Marcus right away in her mind. But Marcus peep game. Okay. And my thing is, like, I would get that. I would have better understood that choice if, like, maybe she'd recently been widowed, like 2 or 3 years or something like that. But boo, you been lost your husband. I don't mean to sound callous, but it's been a minute, okay? Like a minute. And yeah, she's had children, but that's what you did. You had children. Like, she's had plenty of time to be a widow. Her children's been in various stages, and she just okay, now they're on the marriage mart and she's doing her thing. Marcus would have allowed her to be who she was. Marcus would have been by her side for anything. Like, Marcus was about it. He was patient, he was whatever. So when she came up with that, oh, let's wait, he knew what was up. He peeped her game. He knew what was up. He knew what the deal was. So I'm actually proud of him because he did not waste time, right? He did not waste time. He knew what it was. He was just like, huh, baby girl, you never gonna want to get married. Like I see you. And he wasn't gonna let her keep him as her little plaything. He was like, immediately, I'm out. Thank you. Thank you for the time. Thank you for the whatever, but we're not doing this because I want to get married. So I have hung up my rakish ways, ma'am. And you were the chosen one. And no, I'm good. I'm out. Again, this is another point of knowing who you are and how important that is. Next up, Lady Danbury and the Queen. I thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed them together. Their scenes, their acting, their I just really, really, really like that. And I don't know if this is the last we'll see them together, which is a little heartbreaking, Is this the end? Y'all know I can't sing, so it is what it is. But there's rumors and speculations that hint that maybe there could be another season of Queen Charlotte. Nothing's official or anything like that. Just fan wishful thinking, and cast has like maybe, and Shonda's like, I'm not ruling it out. So I feel like that's the only way we'll see them together again. Unless, like, yeah, that's it. But the writing and the acting definitely made it feel like the end of an era. I just enjoyed it. Now, Francesca, John, and Michaela. It was a little rough. It was a little rough at first, as Francesca was trying to adjust to having Michaela around. And I have to say, I don't totally blame her. They had just gotten to a good place because, they had some technical difficulties. in part one. And here comes this cousin messing with their vibe. On the flip side, though, it was good for her to see John in a different light, I thought. And he eventually got to see her in a different light because she kind of made up with Michaela, and Michaela had a way of bringing that fun side out. So I thought that was nice because Francesca eventually was able to build a friendship with Michaela, even after she tried to hook her up with some dude and John told her no, and she was just like, yo, he was interested in her anyway. Like, she knew what she was doing. The sad part is, and I knew this was going to happen. When that man started talking about how he was having headaches and whatever, I was like, oh no, oh no. And there was a nice little scene right before he was just like, I'm going up to take a little nap. There was a nice little scene with him, Michaela, and Fran when they were just chilling, like having a good time. And he was like, oh, I'm going to go take a nap. I was like, don't do it. Don't take a nap because I know what's going to happen. It was short-lived because he died. And at first, part one, I really wasn't happy about how things were playing out in part one because I felt as though they were cheapening Francesca and John's love. Even though we didn't get much of it, but the narration was, these two was, But I think they did it justice in part two. They were able to show how much John and Francesca loved each other and how much that relationship meant to her. Now, I'm not sure what the ending means because in the book, Michaela is Michael, and he and Francesca end up together in her own book because, each of the kids have the book. Each of the Bridgertons have a book. So in Francesca's book, she ends up. But in the end of part one of this season, Michaela ends up leaving when things get a little too cozy. Because I bet you she knows she gay. And Francesca, she clueless. She don't know. She don't know what's up. She might need to go over to talk to the Benedict to figure some things out. But she was just like, oh, Michaela, just be with me. And Michaela's like, no, ma'am, I cannot do that. Let me be out. And so she leaves. I can't remember if she left her a note or whatever, but she left. She's like, oh, I'm out. So I'm just wondering, like, for her book, I think the rumor is that it's going to be her and Eloise's story together. I don't know. I don't know if I do not think they're each going to get separate seasons, but we'll see. But I'm like, are they going to find a long lost relative that's actually Michael and that was just a little teaser that we got? That doesn't make sense, but hey, I don't know, because why she left. And I'm like, what are they going to do for the next season? Anyway, a lot of speculation. So Hyacinth and Eloise. Hyacinth had a recital and they were jamming out. Okay, the music, they were jamming out. But she got her first reality check that some guys are clueless. She got her first reality check that some guys just ain't shit. Okay? Then when John dies, she totally loses it. And coming to terms with death at such a young age, it can be a hard thing, especially for someone who is not only naive, but also like so idealistic. As Hyacinth is. She's very much so. And I love it. I love that. But some of that innocence died during this season. And it could be a good setup for her when her story comes out. Because she probably going to be like, I don't remember it. I have to go look it up. But she probably going to be like, I ain't trying to get married. Which is what she's saying now. What she's saying. She is crashing out, throwing away all her things. Like, all her things that have anything to do with coming out, with the season, whatever. Like, she was hopeful, but then it was destroyed. Okay? It's gone. And the why, it's part of it is like, she was hopeful about love and people finding love, and she's like, well, dang, people find love and then it just gets snatched away. Hyacinth was in love and found this great love, and then boom, it's just gone. Really? Say what now? Without any rhyme or reason. And she's like, I didn't know my daddy, but I know they were in love, and he's just gone. So she is crashing out. And Eloise, even though they had their differences, she was there to support her and love on her the best way that she could, which I appreciated because Eloise was a bitch to her. So I also liked, as far as Eloise, I liked how they touched on her releasing some of her jaded views on love, which also is a nice setup for her story, which I believe maybe next season. So remember I did say that Penelope's not writing Whistledown. So at the very end of the last season, I mean, not the last season, the last episode, a Whistledown sheet comes out. And they're like, Penelope, I thought you stopped writing Whistledown. And she's like, I did. So who is the new writer of Whistledown? Speculations. Is it Lady Mondridge? Is it, well, we know it's not Cressida because she tried it, failed. Is it Violet? Which I don't think it would be Violet because, but hey, you never know. Those are the only two good guesses that I have, honestly. But that's for us, maybe a little mystery next season. Again, I overall really, really enjoyed it. As usual, as I should, because they know what they're doing. A lot of parts that come all together. So it was a good season. Again, I think it's going to stay put where it is, but I'm going to watch it again because it might move up and beat Penelope and Colin's season. So that is your drop. Take what you like, leave the rest, and move gently into whatever comes next. If you enjoyed this entertainment moment, share it with someone who could use a little fun today. Live light and happy.